Now we'll be moving on to a short bhajan and mantra session, which will be done by Pranav Manoj, who is a youth from Ancestry Center. So over to you, Pranav.
वक्रतुण्ड महाकाय सूर्यकोटि समप्रभा निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देवा सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरा गुरुर्साक्षात् परब्रह्मा तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। ॐ साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। सर्वधर्मप्रिय देवा सत्य साई देवा अल्लाह यीशु बुद्ध और नानक ज़ोराष्ट्र महावीर तुम हो, ज़ोराष्ट्र महावीर तुम हो, राम भी तुम हो कृष्ण भी तुम हो, राम भी तुम हो कृष्ण भी तुम हो, विश्व रूप तुम हो, विश्व रूप तुम हो, विश्व रूप तुम हो, साई विश्व रूप तुम हो, सर्वधर्म प्रिय देवा।
Now, I would like to introduce our moderator for today. So, good news to all of you, you will not be hearing my monotonous voice throughout the entire day. Our moderator for today is Auntie Doreen, and she asked me to call her Sister Doreen, but I think it's a bit difficult for me to call somebody who's very senior by the term sister. So I would go on with greeting her as Auntie Doreen. So Auntie Doreen Ong initially started her career or her ambitions was to be a medical doctor. But however, she had to drop out of University in Malaysia after completing her first semester because at that time she couldn't secure a scholarship. She then went on to work in one of the big four audit firms, which assisted her in paying for her studies, which eventually led to her qualifying as a chartered accountant. Upon her qualification and her graduation, the ambitious Auntie Doreen continued her journey in another big four audit firm while also pursuing her degree in IT and then followed by law. Later on, Auntie Doreen joined a multinational auditing company and pursued her diploma in international advertising. She was first introduced to Swami in the year 1990 when one of her Australian colleagues gave her a book on Swami. And after reading the book and all, she was very attracted to Swami and was blessed with her first trip to Puttaparthi in 1992. And since then until today, she has visited Puttaparthi, Whitefield, and Kodaikanal over 50 times. I think we are very blessed to have somebody like Auntie Doreen to do the moderation for us today. And Auntie Doreen also helps to run and coordinate the Rose program. And she believes in the saying that Swami is the ultimate guru. So over to you, Auntie Doreen.
So, brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I think we have some students here as well, young people, young adults. I am very happy to be able to be moderating this session this evening. This evening is actually a culmination of several months of preparation and planning. And we are very glad that finally we are able to get together here today. And for us, the reason why we are having this online is because after the 2 to 3 years of MCO, we found that we could reach out to people outside our centers, our states, through our online programs. And that's why today we are connected north, south, east, and west. And I believe there are some people also attending who are overseas. So it's so good that we are able to connect together this way. And last year, when we had one of the first satsangs, we had very good response, and we were very well encouraged by all that, and we thought we'll continue with this. So what other topic better than my Guru, my Lord Sai? So this evening, I'm not going to be speaking all, but I'm going to introduce to you some very illustrious speakers that we have gathered here. But anyway, before I do that, thank you very much, Navish. Despite his hectic schedule as project manager with the electronics firm, despite his duties at a center, previously as Balvika's teacher, helping out at the center, you agreed to be the MC for this evening. Thank you, Navish. Yeah. So now on to our next part of the program. Now we come to a very interesting part of the program where we're going to introduce to you our first speaker. Now, our first speaker, she is a training consultant by profession, and she's attached to our Bangsa Sai Center. So she is the SSE coordinator there, as well as she was heading some subcommittees in leadership programs. And she has known Swami ever since she was born. She was born into a Sai family, and she will tell you more about it. So this evening, let us welcome our sister Shamini Haridas. Over to you, Shamini.
Sai Ram, uncles and aunties, brothers and sisters, rightly shared that a little bit about myself. That was actually Sister Doreen. My first sentence I wanted to say was, yes, I was born into a Sai family. Right? Yeah, okay, so I can see myself right now, right? So I was born into a Sai family where my mother, who is I think also here, Sister Chandrika from Surman Sai Center, she's an ardent devotee of Swami. And so naturally, the only God form that I knew was Sathya Sai Baba. And she was also very active Balvika's guru. And she used to also attend bhajans very regularly. And as a result of that, guess who got dragged along? Me, yours truly. So my very first memory of bhajans was when I was 6 years old, or maybe younger than that. And my first memory of bhajans was just sleeping through bhajans. So, so I subconsciously listened to bhajans, all right? And I continued my journey in the center, instrument center, for a very long time. We had a very good group of active youths who were very good friends, who did a lot of service projects together. We attended teen youth classes together. When we graduated from teen youth, we helped conduct teen youth. And just to give you a picture of how my life was, It was just basically school or college at one end and activities and center during the weekends. So life was basically just these two. All right. And I enjoyed it really very, very much because that was the way that I connected with my Swami at that time. But life kind of like took a turn after that because I started the second phase of my life. And the second phase of my life was when I got married and I had children. And that was when my active Sai life was almost non-existent. I did not plan it that way, but life just happened. Because right now, life was different. Life was just work, children, wife, and that's it. So you can imagine it was a big shift for me. And my friends who were still single at that time were so active in their career, and still they were so active in Sai activities. And every time they called me to join any of it, I had to actually say no to them. And over time, I felt really very, very guilty doing this. All right. I felt very guilty not being able to serve, as they say. And I used to always have this gnawing feeling in my heart. I used to always say, Swami, am I actually serving you? What seva exactly am I doing? Right? Life is just so mundane. All right. And this went on for a very, very long time. Whenever I did activities with my kids, I used to see Facebook posts where, you know, so many of my friends were actually actively doing a lot of things together. And, you know, I just wasn't present, right, with my, with all the activities that happened. So as this was going on, one fine day, a few months later, there was, I can't remember what the event was, but there was an event where very eminent speakers from overseas had come for a 3-day workshop in Kuala Lumpur. It was at a university. And I usually would not, for the past couple of years, I've not been able to also attend those type of activities in the past. But something told me that I should go for this talk. And so I could not go for 3 days. I could not go for 1 day. I could only go for half a day. All right. Because my children were quite a handful and I could not bring them along as well. And so I just chose a particular day and I went for the talk. Now, what happened at the talk is something miraculous. So in the only session that I attended, the speaker happened to narrate a story about his wife who was also in a similar situation as I was. And so when I heard that, I just, you know, sat really tightly in my seat because I really wanted to know what Swami had to say, because apparently this couple had gone to Puttaparthi and they had an interview with Swami, and the wife, who was in the similar situation as I, asked Swami and told Swami, Swami, I'm really, really very sorry. And Swami said, why? Why are you sorry? And so Swami, and she said that, you know, I am not able to do seva, go out and do seva like my husband over here. I'm not able to participate in any of the service activities. And so this was what Swami actually told the sister. And he said, Bangaru, he said, please do not apologize. Why are you simply feeling all these negative feelings inside of you? He said, you are doing so much of seva, just being at home, doing activities and duties with your children, and you're serving your family. And Swami told her that there is no requirement for you to go out to do seva. And when I actually heard this, my doubts were instantly cleared. And the lesson that I learned from this here is that, you know, in the past, I connected Swami to a physical place or a particular activity. And the lesson that I learned on that day was to connect with him in all my activities. So life is not just life separate and Sai activities separate. It's now combined. The whole universe is him. Everything that you do I needed to see him in it. And this kind of like changed my life and made life more exciting and interesting. Because when I played with my children at that time, at that point of time, I was just present. I was just being a mother, and that was enough for me. And I felt so much of joy because I realized how much of love I have for my mom, for my for my children as a mom. And that made me realize how much of love Swami has for all of us. Because they say that the love of Swami's love is the love of 1,000 mothers. And so I think the take home that I would like to share with all of you today is to start seeing him in every single activity, in every single person. And that makes life beautiful. And connection with him, Swami says that your friendship with Swami is the highest form of devotion. And I'm so glad that I'm able to practice that today, because the connection once established is stronger than a 5G Wi-Fi connection that you experience these days. So time is up. So I thought I would just like to share this with you. And probably it's a new start for a new week. So thank you so much, Sister Doreen, for letting me share my experience. I would end here. Over to you, Saira.
Thank you, Shamini. We should be the one thanking you for your sharing. We are very happy to hear about your experience, your struggle as a wife and mother. And this happens to all of us. So sometimes do what we can, and sometimes just to even pray or chant for someone is already great seva. And whatever you do, whether at home, in the office, always think that you're doing for the Lord. Yeah, thank you so much, Shamini, for reminding us of what each and every one of us can do. Yeah. Next, we will come now to a very busy doctor by profession. She is a gynae oncologist, and she's attached to the Ipoh Garden as well as Sai Cave Temple in Tambun. And there, she is a treasurer at the Sai Cave Temple, and she's also, despite her busy schedule, a service coordinator at Ipoh Garden Center. So, Sister Lee, I've met her during a ladies' convention in Ipoh, and there I thought she was just amazing. So despite her busy schedule, she is so willing, so humble, and it's great getting to know her. So now we would like to invite Dr. Lee Soju to share her experience. Over to you, Dr. Lee.
Thank you, Sister Doreen, for the kind introduction, and thank you for inviting me today for the sharing session. First of all, I would like to share how we came to know Swami. Unlike Sister Shamini, we were not born in the Sai family. So back in 2009, when previously we were praying to we call ourselves Buddhism. We pray to Buddha and Kuan Yin, and until in 2009, when my son was about 3 years old, he would always surprise us with very nicely done Play-Doh shapes and blocks, and we would inquire him how did he make such a nice blocks. And he would say he has a friend who has made the Play-Doh shapes and the blocks with him. And at that time we thought probably this boy was having an imaginary friend. And then one day when my brother-in-law, who was in UK, came back and for a visit, at that time he was in a search of like a guru, and he was telling us about this Swami, and that he read about. And so on his laptop, there is Swami's picture. And the moment when my son saw that picture, he said, "Oh, that's my friend." So we were very surprised that actually, um, we also like we were stunned. And how come, um, a spiritual guru can, actually come and play with our son. So from there, we start to understand Swami and his teaching. And and then we know that now that Swami actually can be omnipresent, and he can be any form. When he appears to the devotee, can be a child, he can be a woman. And so now that we look back, we understand it was the calling, is our calling. And then we search for the science centers. At that time, we were in Kota Baru. So we came across Kota Baru Center, and it was a 3-story shop lot. So we have to climb, pity the devotees, have to climb to the 3rd floor. But the moment when we reached the ground floor entrance, we were hearing Kuan Yin mantra, 慈悲咒. And at that time, we didn't felt strange, but we thought, oh, Sai centers also have Kuan Yin chanting. So we thought some devotees or the center was playing the chanting. But the moment when we went up, the chanting was stopped. There wasn't any chanting going on at that moment. So after that, we met a senior uncle devotee there, and we told our experience of hearing Kuan Yin mantra. And there at that day, he explained to us that Swami is everything. He is Buddha, he is Kuan Yin, he is Lord Shiva, he is Lord Ganesha. So it was a message to us, hearing the Kuan Yin mantra was like a message to us, telling that I am Kuan Yin, and so you should pray to him as well. So from there, we go regularly to the center, to the Kota Baru Center, join their weekly bhajans, and we help clean and do seva in the center. But that was pretty much it at that time. And we didn't like really understand as much yet. I think probably is a journey, and we were still very much early in the journey of knowing Swami. So there was yet to have any desire to go to India. However, 2 years later, Swami took Samadhi in 2011, and there was some regret, like why we didn't think of going and visit Swami's physical form. And so that is where the attachment to the physical form was kicking in. And we looked through his discourse about him taking the samadhi, and we came across that an article which Swami mentioned that he will came back as his current physical form again about 2 years after samadhi, 2 to 3 years after Mahasamadhi. So as human, we we felt that we might have second chance, desire to meet Swami and if it's like given a second chance. So we myself actually especially planning to start to plan a trip, and between 2012 and 2013 we planned for a Puttapati trip in early 2014. And lucky or unlucky, end of 2013 or early 2014 I got pregnant. And I was pregnant with a huge fibroid of 20 centimeter at that time. So my husband was very worried. And then with the trip coming on, I insisted to continue with the trip. But 1 month before the date of the trip, I fell ill and having high fever, unknown fever. There was investigated, but no causes except high total white blood cells, and I have to take Panadol around the clock because fearing that the fever can affect the baby, and taking antibiotics on my own. And in fact, I lost some weight, and I couldn't take any solid food. Only can take fluids until on the day of a Puttapati trip, the fever subsided, and we will successfully go on to the flight and reach India. So there, the moment reached there, I was perfectly well. I can take solid food in any canteen, the Western canteen, Indian canteen. So basically, that was it's a miracle to me and my family, and the child was born normal. That was my husband thinking that it was destined for the child to go India, and me having a cleansing process before the India trip. So I think that's about all that I can share today. If in future we have a chance, we can share other experiences. Back to you, Sister Doreen.
Thank you, sister, for your frank sharing. It's yeah, it's amazing how you went through for that trip despite your pregnancy, and you were well there. You see how Swami protects you, and at the same time he wanted to show you something that you are meant to know. Yeah. So yes, even I just perhaps it may not be the right place for me to share, but yesterday I did attend the full moon of a miracle baby, because the mother was told that earlier on that the baby may not be born normal, but the baby was born normal, and I attended the full moon last night. So Swami works, and in mysterious ways, and we will never know when he wants to reach out to us. So thank you for your sharing, Sister Lee. And so now we'll come to our first male speaker for this evening. This brother, he is way down south in Tangkat, Johor. He's the Center Spiritual Coordinator there, as well as our SCA Study Circle Coordinator, as well as the SCA as an SCA SSE Guru. So he got to know Swami over more than 10 years ago, and he will tell you more about it. So I'm very happy to be able to introduce Brother Mike To. Over to you, brother. Now, brother will speak in Mandarin, but there will be slides in English so that all of us can follow his sharing. Over to you, brother Mike.
再让献上我们最虔诚的顶礼与我们敬爱的swami的莲珠下。首先 还是要自我介绍一下啦因为我相信在这边很多人都还不认识我啦我是属于比较对你们讲可能比较陌生的呃，再次感谢妈爸让我有这个机会在这边跟大家分享我的一个些小小的故事呃我是Brother To Wingpo 来自这个罗州丹嘎的丹嘎 Center 呃，我跟大家一样跟妈妈都有一些小小的故事，在这边我再来分享一下我的一些跟妈妈的一些的小小的故事了我有位邻居他是一位赛信徒，他是一位爸爸的信徒。很多次了，我记得很多次，我也忘记了多少次了。他一直邀请我去到这个这个单嘎的赛 center，但是呢，我每次都推迟他，每次都找这种种的原因种种的理由来推迟他。一直到了在2012年同样的，他还是没有还是很有耐心的来邀请我跟我太太一起去到这个赛 center。于是呢，就在这个2012年11月23日当天刚好赛 center 是在呃庆祝妈妈的庆典我就跟我太太在那一天呢，就出席了我们在第一次的这个麻将参加了这个第一次的麻将呢，让我感觉到因为我心里面充满着很多的那个正能量内心呢也很快乐，也很平静，很和很祥和，所以呢，这样子的情况下呢，我就爱上了这个环境，所以呢，在之后呢，我们也可以说每一个星期我都有去参加那个麻将，除非说我有工作上我需要出国但是我都尽我的能力赶回来，虽然迟了，我还是会去到县城去参加这个麻将接着下来呢，很多人讲去布达巴蒂，同样的，也是有去过布达巴蒂了啊我和我的太太呢，第一次去到这个布达巴蒂呢，是在2014年我们在这个丹嘎 Center 东甲赛中心每一年都有主办去这个布达巴蒂这个朝圣之旅的所以在2014年呢那一年呢，因为我2012年加入这个赛中心嘛就是起了一说没为什么会说有去布达巴蒂的呢？所以就在这个好奇心之下我们在2014年就跟我太太就参加了我们的第一次的这个布达巴蒂朝圣之旅去了之后接下去连续6年我都没有缺席，我都有去，但是到了2020年，因为这个官兵了所有地方都有 MCO 嘛，所以呢就暂停了4年没有再去。所以呢，在这边呢，我很希望我太太也是一样的，很希望我们明年呢能够呢再次去到这个布达巴蒂啊，接着下来呢，就是很多人讲有奇迹了，跟爸爸的故事有很多的奇迹了但是对我来说我跟爸爸没有什么奇迹的东西奇迹的东西，在我印象中没有什么发生在我身上啊，所以对我来说，这个奇迹对我来讲是没有什么很特别的。但是在我印象中最深刻的就是当我第一次去到布达巴的时候，当我去到圣殿去唱八间的时候，当我一听到这个圣殿听到那个很美妙的八间歌的时候我会不禁的流下那眼泪，很自然的就流下眼泪了。但是我知道这个不是伤心的，它不是伤心的眼泪因为当时我心灵是充满着喜悦的我的心里是很祥和啊，很平静的所以我知道这个不是个伤心的一个很伤心的那个眼泪，而是一个喜悦的眼泪更奇怪的说，以后过了之后，我每一次去这6次去到这个布达巴蒂，去到这个正殿的时候，我第一次大庆的时候，我一定也是会流泪的。我是奇怪这个事项，对我来讲，这个可能对我来讲是我的一个的奇迹了所以呢，在这种情况下呢，我感受到我妈妈呢，她一直都在我的身边保护着我，看护着我跟我的家庭所以我对爸爸这绝对有啊 很强的那种信念啊，认识爸爸之后，对我人生的改变我相信这个也是很多的赛兄赛姐们都有这一方面的一个体验OK，像在我刚开始加入这个东家赛中心时候，我只是去出席一些每个星期的这个八阵而已其他的活动我都很少有去参加的但是自从我2014年第一次去了布达巴蒂回来之后，在当时的我们的中心主席Brother Albert Ong 我相信他今天也是有来出席他就委任了我成为中心的这个灵修组的组长。当时我在想，灵修组要做些什么东西的，我都不懂我就是在这种情况下，我也不知道是什么情况之下，我接受了这一份工作我也是不晓得的很自然的这样，你叫我做，对了我就做了，是这样但是当我接受了这份工作了之后，原来我发现我对爸爸的教导真是一知半解都不明白，都不懂。这样，在我不懂的这个当儿要进行这个灵修组的工作我真的面对很大很大的问题不知道要怎么样去做，也不知道是怎么样去下手啊。于是呢，还有呢，就是说就是主要要让工作开始的时候在我们 center 要每个星期的八天我都必须要去讲解爸爸的福音爸爸的 message，爸爸的福音，但是我都不了解爸爸在讲什么东西，他所讲的我都不懂都不理解，所以呢怎么样？但是我要把这份工作做好呢，这样怎么样呢？我去跟爸爸求，跟爸爸祷告，我跟爸爸讲，既然你给了我这份工作，你就赐给我智慧来完成我这个工作就是很奇怪的当我每次跟爸爸讲，每次跟爸爸祷告的时候，诶，我这个在灵修组里面的工作它就可以很顺利的进行当有不明白的地方诶，我跟爸爸讲，我这个我不明白怎么办呢？有时候我会无意中从爸爸的一些书本里面我会找到他的答案，我到底这个爸爸所讲的是什么东西还有呢，有时候我跟其他的一些信徒在交谈的时候诶，从他们的口中我也得到一些的启示的关于这一个爸爸的这些的 message 这些的福音到底他讲什么东西，我也会从他们的启示中，他们的这个谈话中得到这些的启示更奇怪的是有一点因为我刚才跟大家讲了嘛，我跟爸爸求说你给我这方面的智慧，所以呢，当我真的有不明白的时候，跟爸爸讲。我不懂的地方他很自然而然他好像会点醒我，让我知道我到底他要讲的这个教导，到底他是要讲些什么东西，他要带给我们什么东西，所以我就会很自然而然的就会知道所以我就能够把这个我所知道的讲解给我在这个八天的时候那个这个这个福音这个环节时候去解释给我们的其他的赛信徒去明白，但是我知道这是不够的，所以呢，我就开始怎么样去参加爸爸的活动了，比如说去参加修学营沙达那 camp SDB 课程去参加学习签哎呀satsang种种的活动我都开始去参加开始去参加，还有呢，最重要一点呢，就是要去读爸爸的教导、爸爸的教育，所以我去翻看很多爸爸的书刚才我那个 set 里面都有放了2本书，我一直都是在去看的，因为我需要靠这些爸爸的这个教导来提升我自己所以当我在这段不断的学习中在学习的过程中，我不断的去学，很自然的爸爸的那生平故事妈妈的教导他很自然而然的就进入我的思维，进入我的思想里面，而这个思想它又成为了我的一个行动成为我很自然就会去做，而这个行动我做多了我一直在做了，它成为我 我每一天的就是习惯，我都是很自然的，我都会去做。爸爸教的东西我都会去做，他爸爸教的这样，我都会去做啊。所以呢，以前呢，我是一个很自我，而且脾气很暴躁的人啊。可能是因为我的家庭，可能因为我的工作啊，我是个很自我、脾气很暴躁的人。因此呢，我的生活呢是过得很不快乐的，因为我要求很高我的脾气不好所以我怎么样会过得快乐？工作怎么会有做得愉快呢？但是在加入了赛组织之后我在学习了，尤其是学习了爸爸的教导我的性格就慢慢的改变了啊，我开始学会怎么样呢？放下我的执着了，我不会再去要求了我会去看别人美好的一面，看别人美好的地方然后会去为别人着想，你要想到别人为别人的想法出进去去想，这样子呢，心里自然而然就会变得很平静生活也很自然而然的就会过得很快乐所以我知道这个就是爸爸他赐给我的恩惠啊，到了因为在这个2020年这个官兵疫情，我们很多的很多的活动赛组织很多的活动都不能够进行了，唯有能够在这个线上的进行，而这个时候呢，Brother Albert 他又推荐了我了他又推荐我成为这个SA 华人组的SSC 教导这个道德教育的老师，所以呢，我在2021年呢就拿起这个责任，在线上去教导小孩们这个道德教育。这份工作呢，我知道爸爸他又是给我另外一个磨练。总之我知道爸爸一直在磨练我，他给我机会在学习啊。他要我怎么样呢？我知道他要我去担任这个工作，他要我培育我的耐心，还有我的爱心。因为你要成为一个老师，你要成为一个 guru，你必须要有耐心，你必须要有爱心，这样呢，你才能够很好的去完成你的工作才能够利用我们的爱心去培育、教导我们的下一代让我们整个世界，因为爸爸的爱充满着整个世界所以当我成为这个 guru 这个学习成为这个SSC 的老师之后让我真正明白到爸爸所说的 love all serve all 爱一切是一切，我们必须要有那个爱心。其实爸爸的教导到最后，他还是要我们每一个人培养这个爱心当然，这个培养这个爱心，它并不是那么容易。对我来说，我面对一些小小的困难，就是说你要爱一切，爱一切众生。但是有一些人曾经伤害过你的，又怎么样？所以这个就是要去学习所以这边呢，我就有听到爸爸的教导，他说我们要忘记2件事情。第一件事情就是忘记伤害过你的人，那些伤害过你的人，你要忘记他那些你帮助过的人你所做过的好事，你帮过的人，你也要忘记他所以这是我从爸爸的教导里面所学习到的说我就是从爸爸的这个感受爸爸的教导，从爸爸的故事里面啊，知道爸爸的爱是个无私的爱，从这边让我能够知道这个 love or serve all 的那个，对我来讲，它的真正的意思了我的分享呢就到此，最后呢，愿所有世界的众生幸福快乐。Salam。Story 我交给你了。
Saram, come here, brother. Wow,
Salam,
brother,
salam.
when I look at you, you're always smiling, tapai chill bin. So I thought that you're very good tempered. I didn't know that you had such great transformation. Wow, siang belai,
Salam, salam.
Okay, good, good. You see how the power of Baba. Okay, so now we go across the ocean, the sea, and we go to East Malaysia, to Kuching. So all the way from Kuching, we are so very happy to have with us here Sister Sim Yong Siang. Sister Sim works in the banking industry for over 38 years. And I believe she's a very loyal and faithful employee. And despite her retirement, she is called back to work for the bank again. So despite her busy schedule, she agreed to be a speaker for us. And we are very happy to have her, a person who was just appointed as the current chairperson of Kuching Sai Baba Center. And she has been going to the center for several years, since 2007. She has been doing regular Gayatri chanting. She will share more about this with you. So we are very pleased to have with us here this evening Sister Sim Yong Siang. Over to you, Sister Sim.
Yeah, Sairam, everybody, thank you to Sister Doreen for giving me this, inviting me to join this satsang tonight. Okay, just a brief introduction of myself. My name is Sim Yong Siang, and I've been with Sathya Sai Baba for the past 17 years, since 2006. Okay, and I was being introduced to the center actually is by my sister-in-law. Who learned from her friends that there is a Hindu temple at Jalan Batu Lintang, under the big tree, and they told her that this temple is said to be very famous. So on one Sunday when I drive past the area and I noticed that the temple is open, and they have quite a number of devotees praying there. So I just went in there and joined them for the evening. Okay. So since then, I basically only go for the Gayatri chanting every Sunday night, for which I experience great vibration around the center during the meditation time after the chanting. And that is when I put forward all my worries to Swami and let him endure all my problems. Okay. I love the Gayatri chanting. I never join in any other activity except the Gayatri chanting every Sunday night. Okay, today I'm going to share with you all one incident that happened to me 6 years ago, which until today, my memory is still very fresh, and it just like happened just a few days ago. Okay, there is one morning when I went for breakfast before taking off my flight to Cebu to celebrate my uncle's birthday. I've parked my car nicely at the car park already. But then when I came out from the car, I noticed that it is a bit out of the parking lot. So I just want to shift it a bit in, just to drive it a bit in, not to say block people or what. So after that, I don't know what happened to me. Instead of after I put to D drive to drive the car, I accidentally pressed on the petrol accelerator. You know what happened there? The car is basically fly off from the parking lot, go across the drain, a drain that is quite big drain, and fly over the pedestrian pavement and landed on the rock just in front. Is actually quite a few feet away. Actually, when the car fly off that time, I was in great horror already. So I only scream out, Baba, there's the only one words that I come out from my mouth. So at that moment, it is just like miracle happens, just a split of second when I shout for Baba. You feel as if that somebody is lifting your car up and just put it nicely on the road. Can you imagine the force of my car flying off over the drain and over the pedestrian pavement, landed on the road is actually quite a big impact on the road. But my car is just like placing on the road by someone. And there is not even a single damage to my car. Actually, and then for your information, that junction that I landed is actually full of cars moving by every day. It's quite a busy area. But at that moment, there is not even a single car around there. There is only one motorbike, but stopping a few feet away from my car and looking at me with horror face. And I was looking back at him and I was speechless. I just don't know what happened. But I just don't know why I still can drive my car away. to find another parking lot. Okay, just for your information, there is one more blessing that I actually have at that moment is that my car is actually flying through two big trees. Two big, very big trees. If I would have parked my car one slot to the right or another slot to the left, I would have hit the big tree already, and I wouldn't be able to fly to Cebu to join for my uncle's birthday. And there is another blessing is that actually I went for the breakfast with my mom, and I have actually dropped her at the coffee shop before I looking for the parking space. And my mom is not in the car with me. So I feel that Swami is around us, Baba is around us, and I know very well that he is around me every time to protect me, to guide me from any harm. And he will not be able to eliminate all the accident that may happen to you, but he will always minimize what you have to suffer. That is my experience with Swami. Sairam, back to you, Sister Doreen.
Wow, Sister Swami really saved you. Just incredible, just incredible. I mean, we hear of flying car project, and that must have been the first flying car in Kuching. Incredible. When she first told me she was going to share this, when I heard about it, I was like, oh my God. I mean, my goodness, this is really, imagine a busy road and there were no cars
Yes.
around at that particular moment. That can only be a miracle, the
Yes.
saving grace of Swami. Thank you so much for sharing that, Sister Sim.
Thank you.
I
Thank
mean,
you.
yeah, just
I know
incredible.
Swami is
Thank
with
you.
me. Yes.
Yes, he is with you all the time. So now is the right time, actually, ladies and gentlemen, for us to take a photo all together before I introduce our next speaker. So now I would like to request each and every one of you, if you can please oblige us to on your video, and we will take a photo shoot together. Before, some of you may have to leave early or have things that you need to do. So can we arrange for a photo shoot? I think I do not need to be spotlighted, isn't it? So that we can have everyone in the picture. And is everyone okay? Wow.
Okay,
Brother
just
Tan, Brother Sugu, are you able to join us for the photo shoot?
let me go to
Yes.
second page.
Yeah, Sister Pushpa Jayalakshmi.
Yeah, everyone look very handsome and
Yes.
pretty.
Wow.
Let me take a few more snapshots.
Yes. Few more snapshots. Yeah, thank you for obliging us to have this
Okay,
photo
keep smiling,
shoot.
keep smiling.
So nice to see everyone. Yeah, so happy to see everyone here today. Yes. Good.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Sairam, thank you, brothers and sisters. Our last speaker for this evening, last but very important person too. He is from Seramban, this brother that we know. I met him at the Seramban Center at several Sai functions, and I thought I must invite him to speak one day. And this brother, although he grew up in Seramban, literally with our Seramban Center, he is now currently working as a psychiatry registrar. He's a senior psychiatry registrar at Hospital Permai in Johor. He is also an Oxford certified mindfulness based on mindfulness meditation, and he is currently one of our national coordinators for meditation. He loves meditation retreats and he was conducting our meditation programs, our 21 days meditation program recently. So we have none other than Brother Dr. Sabitan Balakrishnan, who is going to share his experience with us. Over to you, brother.
Sai, my humble pranams to the lotus feet of our beloved Bhagavan, Sri Sathya Sai Baba. Thank you so much, Sister Doreen, and each and every one of you for being here today, to the SEN community for inviting me to be the final speaker for today. Thank you so much again. And of course, thank you, our beloved Bhagavan, for giving me this opportunity to share this story of mine. So I am Sabitan Balakrishnan, and I work as a senior psychiatry registrar in Hospital Permai, Johor Bahru. And I have been in Hospital Permai for quite some time, and I move places. And starting off, I would say that my immediate family, they are not Sai devotees, but my extended family, huge, quite a number of them are actually heavily involved in the Sai organization. So growing up, I have a lot of cousins who are in the Sai organization and in the Sai, I would say the entire family on my father's side, they're all in the Sai organization. So they were all involved with Bal Vikas, and growing up, it was a similar experience that I had. However, as I grew, I realized that at one point of time we had to move away, relocate. And once I moved to Surumban, I quickly joined into the Sri Sathya Sai Baba Center of Surumban, and that's where I met Auntie Chandrika and the group of gurus there who wonderful. They are wonderful people, and I have the most respect for each and every one of them, because they gave us students, they gave each and every one of us the right set of values, the right set of messages, the principles that Swami has brought. I know he has brought down to this plane for us to experience. And at that very moment, though it may seem as if we were memorizing things, it seemed as if it didn't make much sense. So from teen to teen youth, maybe using a bit of Swami's messages here and there, we didn't feel much. Moving to young adults, that's where Swami's messages really struck me the most. I was posted to Sabah, and when I moved to Sabah, there were a lot of hurdles that took place. And during those moments, dear brothers and sisters, somehow or other, I completely forgot about Swami. It just happens to a lot of us. It's perhaps his will that we completely forget of him, his presence. And during those moments, we realize how dark life can get, how difficult situation can seem, how unsupported you feel, how vulnerable things can be for you. With all the habits, with all the negativity, with people who are trying to get you at, in every juncture. And in that very moment, I was lost. I was lost for quite some time. And because I was lost, that emptiness, that feeling of loss was so deep that I felt that perhaps, is this what life is? After doing all of this, finishing my medicine and becoming a doctor and working well, things were going on. But is this what life is? And it went even deeper than that. And I started to give up on life. Give up on practically everything. I started noticing that my mood wasn't that well, my eating habits, sleep wasn't great. And finally, somewhere within me, I realized that what's missing? Why is life? You come to this existential crisis where you start questioning why life has become so meaningless. And after so much of introspection, brothers and sisters, I realized that the only missing factor was Swami's presence. I'm not sure if similar experiences are shared, but at that very moment, I realized that the missing factor was Swami's presence. And long story cut short, Swami came back into my life. I was all well and finally realized during COVID, it was a very difficult period. I had to work over and work multiple shifts. And then I started to meditate. I asked for Swami's guidance. And after that, I realized that, I wasn't moving in meditation much. So I started to follow another guru. And I went really into the 21 day Shivaratri thing, really hyped up. And then suddenly I realized that, why isn't Swami doing enough for my meditation practice? Why am I not experiencing enough? And till the extent, at the end of the sadhana, I was so close to removing Swami's photo from my home. I even inquired to few of the other devotees on how to do so. And once I have decided, I felt like it was a very difficult step to make, but I decided, I have to do it. And so I went to the Photoshop to find a new frame for the new guru that I wanted to bring into my life. And during that very moment, some auntie who used to cook for me, who has been so close to me all this while, called me out of the sudden and just told me in Tamil, I've been thinking of getting Swami's photo. Can you give me one of Sathya Sai Baba's photo? So I was thinking, okay, then the next thought was, okay, am I making a wrong move? And then finally I introspect into my being and I asked, so Swami, tell me, if you really want me in your presence, if you have always been there for me, I need to know now. The now is now. So I gave it some time. I came back home to Sramban. I did not do anything with the photograph. And it was a night it was just very fast. I got a vision. I closed my eyes because the tension was really, if you can rate a scale of tension within yourself, that tension, that yearning for my guru was, I would say, about 100% and beyond that, maybe 150%. It was out of I wanted to burst, that kind of tension within myself. And finally, at that point, just as I fell asleep, I didn't realize I was even falling asleep. I closed my eyes. Immediately, a door was there. I was brought inside the door, and Swami was there. He didn't even look at me. He was doing this, this pose like this. It was very clear. It's a very, very vivid dream. I've had vivid dreams in the past. It has always been with him, but this is extremely vivid. And there were students massaging his foot. And he looked at me and he said, maybe just turned a bit. He didn't know eye contact. If you want to go, go. I flew out of the room and the door shut and I woke up. The next moment, brothers and sisters, I was just, okay, Swami, you're here. The reason I'm sharing this vision with you is not to show that I have a vision and you don't know. It's because the transformation that takes place. We are always so focused on the miracles, on the rings, the vibhuti and whatnot. No. Swami's true miracles, my guru's true miracle is my transformation. And I really hope that this transformation is also felt by each and every one of you. With that, Jai Sai Ram.
Thank you for your very frank and honest sharing, brother. I could feel the tension and what you went through. I know everyone's experience is different. But yes, sometimes in our professional life, our working life, things can come to a It comes to a situation where you feel that you sometimes you doubt yourself, you even doubt your master, you even doubt your guru, so sometimes things like this can happen. But the fact that Swami pulled you and showed you that vision, and
Yeah,
it's
I will. Aga. You see, now it comes out with this sort of
Sairam, is someone speaking at the back? There's a background noise. You can mute yourself, please. So thank you very much to each and every one of our speakers, from Sister Shamini, Dr. Lee, Brother To, Sister Sim, and Dr. Sabitan. You have said so much, and it's a lot of food for thought. And I really, it's makes me connect back to Swami again. Sometimes it's so easy just to be so busy with our daily lives that we forget how great our guru is, how great our mentor is, our master is, the Purna Avatar. So thank you very much for sharing so much this evening. And I must say thank you to everyone who was a very good audience, and who was now over to back to our MC, because I know he has something on. Yes, Brother Navish, over to you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Auntie Doreen, and thank you to all the speakers. Now we're moving on to the next section, which is the Q&A session. So if any one of you have questions that you would like to ask any one of our 5 speakers, please do either unmute yourself, or you can also type it out in the chat box and we can read it out for you. I think Sister Charlene has the first question for all of us.
Hi, Saram everyone. I have a question for Sister Shamini. Okay. What would be your advice to any parent who has teenage kids, sister?
Sairam, Sister Shirley.
Saram,
Your question is, what
would be your advice to any parent who has teenage kids?
I think my advice would be, I would not even add the word teenage there. Your children come through you, and the mistake that most parents make is the expectations that you have on your child. You feel that you're responsible. Yes, you are responsible for guiding the child, for nurturing the child, but you have to understand that he comes through you, and Swami chooses the parents. But I think you need to leave the ultimate goal is basically to have trust that whatever nurturing that you've done, the child needs to find his path. Like a lot of the stories that, like what Dr. Sabitan shared, the experiences that I've gone through, I think as parents, we kind of like have certain expectations, and that, he's my child, and we need to mold him in this way. But we need to learn to also detach and also have trust that, just like a plant and a tree, you put the right fertilizer, the soil, everything, but you do not know at the end of the day whether he'll bloom or whether he will probably be stunted growth for a while, but later bloom. It's his part. You just need to trust the process. It's harder to say than to practice, but that is what I have come to realize. So that's my answer. I hope it answers your question.
Thank you, sister.
Yeah.
While we wait for the other participants to come up with their questions, maybe I can ask the second question, and my question is actually for Brother Sabitan. So earlier you mentioned different phases in life where you went through, and sometimes Swami was there, sometimes he wasn't there, and then how he spoke to you. I think my question is more on when we go through all these different phases in life, how do you stay true to Swami's teaching, and how do you have that constant reminder that, oh, he's actually there and he'll be there to guide us throughout the different challenges that we're going through?
Thank you for the wonderful question, Brother Navish. I think it's a very important question. The thing which kept me being constantly integrated with Swami was the Sai activities. No matter where you go, wherever you've been posted to, or whichever center or whichever state you go, the first thing you do is find out where's the nearest Sai center. And the next thing you do is, when's the budget? And then who's the service coordinator? How do I, participate? Call up the center people and speak to them. And you may not even have to do that. Just go for the budget and everything will happen. So always constantly have this group of people who are like-minded. So when like Swami says, show me your friends, I tell you who you are. So similarly, if you associate with people who think of Swami, who is constantly integrated with Swami, collectively, our awareness, our consciousness will also grow. So we may be always consistently and in continuity be connected with Swami. So that's my answer. And during those difficult moments, always think of him. You don't have to meditate or you don't have to do anything extra to bring him into your presence. Because just like the sister earlier mentioned, when the accident took place, there's no time for her to say a mantra or anything. The thought which comes out is that last thought, Baba, and that thought brought him. So similarly, when you're going through difficult periods, make sure that the thought which comes out is directed to him, and trust me, he will come.
Thank you for the explanation on how to stay relevant with Sai's teaching. Sister Shirley, if there is no more questions from the audience, maybe I can ask another question. And this question is perhaps directed to Brother To and Sister Lim, who earlier shared how they had their trips to Puttaparthi and they visited Puttaparthi several times already. I think my question is more on what is the difference and what is the attraction factor that Puttaparthi brings to all of us? And how do you feel like when you are in center and doing the prayers compared to when you are in Parthi and you're in Kulwan Hall with Swami's presence there?
Brother Billy, translate for me. I speak Mandarin so that you can translate.
Okay, let me try.
我慢慢讲，我不会讲很快的啊。
Okay.
刚才MC 所问的问题是说，在 center 的 budget 的感觉跟在这个布达巴蒂的感觉是有什么不同是吗？他主要问题是这个样子吗？
Okay, the question asked is that what is the difference between when you're having bhajan at your center and in Puttaparthi? 对对。
Is it your question like this?
呀，对。
Yes.
Okay. 对我来讲，爸爸是无所不知、无所不能、无所不在的啊。所以这个在开始的时候，是我们自己心里啊，我们自己想哦，我去到布达巴蒂，我好像跟爸爸比较接近。这是每个人开始的时候一种的想法哦。当然，我不可能每天都去呀，对不对？我们都没有可能啊。但是开始的时候真的是有那种感觉，我去到那边，我在布达巴蒂的时候，我是有不同的感觉，我是有Brother Willie， 你可以translate一下吗？
Okay. Baba is omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscient. He's everywhere. Okay. When we are in Puttaparthi, we feel the closeness to Baba.
OK，
希望我translate对。
对，但是经过一段时间，当你了解更多的时候，其实我觉得是没有分别，没有很大的分别。
Okay, so after some time, when you get closer to understand Swami's teaching, you find that there's not much of a difference when you are in the center and when you are in Puttapati.
好，所以现在我的感觉是说，爸爸整天就是在我身边的
Now I have the feeling that Baba is just beside me, inside me, around me.
啊。只要我有一些心里面好像一些心里面好像有一些不感觉上不那么好的，我就跟他讲，我其实现在我把爸爸当的是我的朋友。
Now I treat Baba as a friend, and whenever I have any doubts, any restlessness in my heart, I just would communicate with him direct.
所以呢，对我现在来讲啦，跟以前是有不一样啊。当然，如果说有那个机会，我去到布达巴蒂啊，我还是会把握那个机会因为或许是因为是心理上的一个关系啦。不过总的来讲，我觉得它是没有分别的。到现在的我的理解，它是没有分别的。
If the opportunity arises, I would definitely like to go to Puttapati for a visit. But the feeling as to the communication with Baba is the same. I feel it's the same whether I'm in Puttapati and whether I'm at home here in Malaysia. I can still communicate direct with him.
OK，塞拉，这是我的分享啊。
Okay, this is my sharing.
Thank you so much, Brother To. And I noticed that Brother James, I think you have a question for us. Would you like to unmute and share your question? This can be the last question.
Salam, brother. Since Sister Shelley talked about children, and then Shamini also having children, I just want to share a little bit about my experience with my children when I first came to know Swami. That was 24 years ago. That time I have 3 children. So coming to know Swami is God, of course, my guru. Then I also learned that my children, 3 young children, at that moment, at that time, I totally changed in the sense that I started to say, hey, this is not my children, This is Swami's children. This is God's children, So when you treat your children as God's children, Swami's children, you totally lost your ego. There is no more like father, It's like pure love. That means you do your best for your children, because it's God's children. And they're only temporary with you in this life. That we understand, temporary with you. So even when you do your best, the children will diversify. The path will be different. But as long as it's under our guardians, we do our best for them. We're full of love. Whatever we know, we do our best because it's God's children. I think it's a different level rather than treating my children as my children and there's a little bit of ego. But when you treat as God's children, it's totally different. Hope other mothers can learn something about this.
Thank you, Brother James, for the sharing. I think it's a good reminder that we are all here just to play a temporary role, and eventually Swami decides everything. And next part of the program is for us to invite Uncle Bai to come up and give his addresses on behalf of the SEA community. So Uncle Bai is from Seputeh Bhajan Unit, and he knew Swami since 2004 December. So I'd like to invite Uncle Bai to continue this session. Thank you, Uncle.
Sairam, everybody. Good evening. I was so happy to see that there are so many participants today, and I really want to thank the organizing committee to do such a great job. Everything for me, everything is fantastic. The evening, this evening satsang itself is like very good. Actually, tea times after my dinner. When I hear all this sharing, I feel so happy, and it also make me recall that my first time went to India, my experience with Swami. So with this, actually, I'm so happy that, if we can have this kind of satsang more frequent, we can actually get more and more different speakers sharing with us. And then, we have a very good mix this evening. We have a good mix of speaker from a different background and different experience. And I think it's definitely benefited all the participants who come in for the evening sharing. So with this, thanks everybody for the evening, and Saram.
Thank you, Uncle Bite. To conclude our program for today, I would like to invite Uncle Sugu, the SSIOM president, to give his final remarks. Saram, Uncle, are you here?
Thank you, Navish. Can hear me, right? You can
Yes,
hear,
loud
right?
and clear.
Yeah, thank you very much. Firstly, my humble pranams at the lotus feet of Bhagavan Sri Sathya Sai Baba. Thank you to the organizers for having this satsang and inviting me to be part of it. And I was listening to all from Sister Shamini, Lee, Brother To, Sister Sim from Sarawak. In fact, I spoke to her just now, earlier on some other matter, and Dr. Sabidan. Doreen, good effort. Here, what's so interesting, like for example, Brother To from Tanka, who speaks in Mandarin, when I see him in the recent years, he's always calm and this one, and he was telling that he was arrogant and very difficult to work with. I cannot believe that. So this is Swami's way, maybe. But he's a very calm person. That means he does, for me, he always he does a lot of meditation or something like that. That's one. And when the other thing which also Sabitan reiterated on what Sister Sim Yong Siang said about the moment of difficulty calling out Baba. That means there must be a lot of faith, like what Dr. Lee mentioned about her intended trip to India. And at that moment, can we remember Swami's name? Can we remember God? That is very important. So that needs a lot of practice, a lot of faith. And something which I like to share from the Satyam Svam Sundram, volume 3, which is related to what you all have just spoken, Charles Penn, if you all know Charles Penn, he has said, Baba has come to teach. And he says that let us avail ourselves of him. I'm reading from whatever notes I've taken. We must remember to ask him to solve each of our problems and then be constantly aware of each succeeding moment for his guiding answer. This is what Brother To said when he was appointed as a spiritual coordinator in Tanka Center. And then the answer will be clear and correct, and the interpretation will be easy if only we pray. And to say this, and Baba has said, said this in the same chapter 4, unless like Arjuna, you choose the Lord as your charioteer and surrender the senses, the mind, the intellect, the desire, the means and the ends to him, the war shall not end in your victory. So that is the lesson of what Atma Vidya, that means why we are here, what's the whole idea of this organization is for transformation. And the best part is you must choose the charioteer. So to choose the charioteer, and Baba says that in the same line, make me your charioteer. So I thank all of y'all. Take this message back of what Baba says, hey, take me as your charioteer, let me be your driver. So if he says that, let me be your driver, we must take that opportunity to do it. And I believe like when Brother To was talking about his new role as a spiritual coordinator in the center, and then Sister Sim and Brother Sabitan, they all mentioned, the difficult times. Sister Shamini mentioned about starting off a family and everything. They could call upon the charioteer. And then we continue to have him in our life. That include all of us, including me, every time. We can forget, but we will forget, I tell you. So you must do this on a constant daily practice. Then you know who to call, you see. Thank you very much. Jai Sai Ram.
Sairam, and thank you for the closing remarks, Uncle Sugu. We've come to the end of the program, and we would like to end this session with a short prayer. Om Shanti 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 Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you and Jai Sai Ram.
Sai Ram. Sai Ram.
Sai Ram.